80% of you have brown eyes, 10% have blue eyes, and 5% have hazel eyes. Less than 2% have green eyes, and less than 1% have central heterochromia, which means you can have 2 or sometimes even 3 colors in one eye.
Did you know that if you have a different color on the inside of your iris versus the outside, and no, I'm not talking about the ring, then you have central heterochromia. It doesn't really show in this lighting, but like, if you can see, I have, yeah, it really doesn't show in this lighting. But I have like a dark brown on the center of my eye around my pupil, and then around it I have like a light, almost yellowish green color, but it's not really noticeable in this lighting, so let me...
Is this the rarest eye color in the world? Under 1% of people have this condition called heterochromia, where the eyes are 2 different colors. Did you know there are 3 different types of heterochromia? One, where the eye is a completely different color to the other. Secondly, sectoral heterochromia, where one part of the eye is a different color to the rest. And finally, central heterochromia, where the central part of your iris is different to the rest of it. But what causes this rare condition? Well, genetics. In many cases, it's present from birth and it is considered harmless. And you can have acquired heterochromia from, for example, certain diseases, injury, or inflammation. And lastly, medications. Some eye drops, particularly those for glaucoma, can change your eye color. Mismatched eye colors have meant many different things to different cultures throughout history. The pagans of Eastern Europe thought they were witch eyes, while Native American cultures thought they were ghost eyes that could see into heaven and earth. Modern culture just sees them as really cool. Do you know anyone with this rare eye coloring? Follow my channel for more eye-related health topics.
He gave me up for medical experimentation, which was partly because my mother has an unusual iris colour. It's called central heterochromia, and this is my dear friend and my cousin Doug McIntyre's research that I'm going to be talking about here. But central heterochromia was something that the Nazis were fascinated with. So the Nazis in the Second World War were absolutely obsessed with the occult, and in the Hindu religion, people with central heterochromia could see ghosts and they could see the future, and they had a lot of abilities. So the Nazis were experimenting particularly on gypsies that had this eye coloration. Central heterochromia is very much like, you see a lot of Hollywood elites with this eye colour. So you've got people with full heterochromia have 2 different coloured eyes. So you might have a green eye and a blue eye, or a green eye and a brown eye, or blue and brown. With central heterochromia, there's a circle of a different colour around the pupil than there is around the rest of the iris. And like I said, in the Hindu religion, those are the seers. Those are the more psychic individuals. My mother had that eye colour. I believe my father selected her for that, for breeding. So, and it's interesting, he must have either, I don't remember seeing anybody with that eye colour on his side of the family, but my mother had it. And I believe his first wife, who also died in very strange circumstances, we believe she was murdered, and that's another inquest that needs to happen. And because she died at a time when my mother had already met my father, was seeing him, and had become impregnated with him, and I think she'd just given birth to his child. So the first wife had to go, because if he had to divorce her, he would have had to let go of the house that had the bunker and the tunnels, which was never going to happen. So his first wife was gotten rid of. It was a horrible, horrible experience. So it's interesting because one of my other siblings from her, because I've got 3 half siblings, well, 2 now, one's dead, and 2 full siblings. One of my other half siblings also has this central heterochromia. So my father was choosing, I believe, women to breed with who had this in the family, in the interest of producing children that he could then hand over to the MK Ultra program for this experimentation. And I'm a product of that, even though I see myself as, well and truly above the abuse that I experienced. Central heterochromia, there's a different colour around the pupil than the rest of the iris in the eye. And the Nazis were experimenting on gypsies who had this eye coloration, because the Nazis were absolutely obsessed with the occult. Or it's often called hazel eyes. It's not hazel eyes. Look up central heterochromia. There's another version too called full heterochromia, where each eye is a different colour, and partial heterochromia, or segmented, where you have just a slash in the iris or whatever. And if there's Rh negative blood in the family, most likely part of a satanic line. And people with central heterochromia have otherworldly abilities, that they're psychic. They can commune with God. They can see the future. They're telekinetic, which is another thing. I mean, the Nazis were absolutely obsessed with telekinesis, the moving of objects with the mind.
Yeah.
So